Yes, good evening, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Greginator, YouTuber, creator, host with the most, misunderstood lonely nomad, unstoppable independent podcaster, and rookie podcaster of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And you're rocking and hanging with the 99th episode of Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast review show. Live and direct from StreamYard alongside with YouTube and alongside of myself is the Instagram live feeds. Um, Make sure you turn your notifications so you know I'll be on Instagram live every week, which is the same as the live stream every Tuesday, every Friday, and yeah, every every Tuesday, every yes, Monday, Tuesday, and Fridays. Yes. Um, I stand corrected. Yes, every Monday, Tuesday, and Friday, I'm going to be on Instagram Live in the live stream of YouTube. So be sure to tap your notifications as a reminder of when I'm going to be on the air, of course. And speaking of being on the air, if you have any comments on the review topics that's going to be discussed today or any previous episodes whatsoever, please feel free to jump into the comment section on Instagram of Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, and of course do the same for the YouTube channel, which is the same name as the Instagram handle. So go grab that subscribe button on the YouTube channel page of Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, alongside with tapping that noni bell so you can be reminded of when the show goes in the air via live stream, including the time of the recording as a reminder. And you can leave a like and a comment along with the episodes, especially with the topics that's being discussed, that's being reviewed, including music artists, there's movies, TV shows, games that's coming out that's going to be reviewable and stuff, and sometimes reviewable of podcast shows that I listen to. Um, now, um, now, if you miss any previous episodes whatsoever, don't worry. Everything's all uploaded and posted to the YouTube channel page. So be sure to actually catch up on the previous episodes that I recently just dropped, which is from 98 to 9 to if in the 90s. You know what I mean? And also be sure to share the videos, share the episodes, download these episodes. Very important to grow this show out. And of course, be sure to tell a friend to another friend, and I will handle where you can listen to the episodes on every streaming platform at the end of the show episode today. And now, before we even get into a little bit of music Kool-Aid here today, I'd like to get to mental health check-in first. So let's do this. Okay, this is a warm-up section about people's well-being, including myself. And of course, I'd like to actually take the time to actually say something here. And this is pertaining to a recent conversation that I had with a live streamer today who has a mental blockage, which is what Simone Biles was actually struggling from. And and the thing that this live streamer said really kind of hit me, and I actually agree. You listen, and I said this to my mother recently, that being a human being is not about just having a good behavior. Being a human being, as far as like trying to get to know somebody, you're not only getting to know the good, but you're also getting to know the bad and the ugly of the person. There's sides to a person. You feel what I'm saying, folks? It's it's all about it's all about knowing how you have to be realistic at some point. There is no such thing as a person who is going to be positive 24/7, because that's the unrealistic thing to do and unrealistic thing to say. The same way what's unrealistic is to actually try to ask me to do the impossible, as far as like trying to be the past version of myself, which I'm not the baby boy anymore. You feel what I'm saying? And and I kind of feel like I needed to actually address this, as for those who's actually going through stuff as far as mental blockage and stuff like that. Look, um just know that there's sides to a person. All right, it's going to be some sides to a person, and you can't just be one-sided, because um because once you get to know a person and the size of them, um you're going to get an idea on what a human being is basically about. And and I just feel the need to actually address this, because number one, you have to really know that there it's kind of like knowing that there's a dark side to a person, and then there's a bright side to a person. Um, in the same way, there are evil villains, and then there's good guys. The point I'm trying to make here is, in this mental health checking segment here, is to you know is to you know you're not only getting to know the size of the person, but get to know their well-being too. Their well-being, and of course what they're going through mentally, physically, and spiritually, because mental health matters. I'm gonna keep saying it, and I'm gonna keep saying it. Mental health is not taboo anymore, man. So let's break the fucking stigma out of this shit, because you can't put people in the fucking box, man, because based on their behavior. You really can't. You really can't, though. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah. And another important lesson is that, and I say this at the end of, I always say this at the end of the show. Um, if you are going through a struggle as far as like a mental blockage or anything like that, it's not just go outside on the road all the time. You have to find something that kind of clicks to you like a spark, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. And I am going to say this at every end of each episode. So it's just a reminder that you are only human. You can't be nobody else but you. Period. And that's just my take on the whole lesson of mental health check-in, based on one of the live streamers, and I kind of agree with what she was saying. So shout outs to the live streamer from Pokecha, Ella, rhymes with umbrella, with you know daily affirmations, man. Sometimes we do need daily affirmations, um and sometimes we got to do something to motivate ourselves. I mean, even though you're not gonna get all the answers and shit, you're not gonna get all the answers in one day. But what I could tell you is that you gotta take things day by day. and and time after time, because there is no shortcut to all this. Sometimes you gotta go through things, and then you have to, grow through things. The same way, like Nick Cannon always says, you have to go through the pain bef- and then you dance in the rain. And that's just my take on it right here on this mental health check-in segment right here. Let's get on let's get on to um let's get on with the show right here. Boom. All right, today's episode. And by the way, folks, if you have any ideas on music artists, singers, rappers, hip hop artists, people with TV shows, movies, games, and podcasts that you would like me to actually review, um you can go to this email right here, man. Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast at gmail.com. All right. That's Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast at gmail.com. So there you go. Today's episode, we're gonna be reviewing some scary horror movies. In today's episode titled Scary Times is where we go over some movies from um from the past, present. We go over movies from past, present, and future, of course. You know what I'm saying? So, um, without further ado, um, excuse me, we're gonna get into the Chillax Man Cave Popcorn Lounge segment. And first of all, and I forgot, we have a music Kool-Aid segment in honor of Hip Hop History Month that I have to go over. I forgot all about that right there. So first, we go over what's going on in hip hop history today. So so here it is, music Kool-Aid, and then we go over to the Chillax Man Cave Popcorn Lounge segment. So let's get into all this right now. All right, hip hop history month it is, man. Before we even get into it, I have to really get it. I want to make sure I get to the hip hop history thing first. So let's get into it. Um all right, so today's hip hop history month. Let's get into it. Um I remember I saw something in regards to let me see. I remember seeing something about what is it? No, not the Beastie. I actually saw something actually that was interesting. Hold on a second. In regards to the Beastie Boys. Um, let me see. Let me get. You know what? Yeah, let's do that. Hip hop history. Um, Beastie Boys. Okay, so all right, let's get into it. Hip hop history month. Okay, here it is. So today's hip hop history month goes to the Beastie Boys. Yes, on this date, 36 years ago, Adam Horowitz, um, Adam Yauch, and Michael Diamond aka the Beastie Boys, um, dropped their sophomore LP licensed to um ill, whatever that says. Yeah, licensed to ill on the Def Jam imprint under Columbia Records. On the heels of the successful LL Cool J Radio album and the cult classic flick Crush Groove, Def Jam head honcho Russell Simmons decided to head in the most unconventional direction with the quasi punk rock hip hop trio for Def Jam's follow up to those monumental releases. The original title of this release was Don't Be a Faggot. Wow. 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 But Columbia Records pushed Simmons to change the homophobic title. Oh gosh. Rated as one of the Source magazine's top 100 best albums, Licensed to Ill received the coveted 5 mic status, a precedent for Jewish hip hop artists. In less than 6 months after its release, this critically acclaimed project earned the Beastie Boys a platinum plaque, lead by the singles Brass Monkey. Wow. Oh man. No sleep. No sleep till Brooklyn. Hold it now. Hit it. And the storytelling smash Paul Revere. Not the Paul Revere who says the British are coming, folks. Yeah. Oh man. Unfortunately, crew member MCA lost his battle with cancer in 2012, which actually caused a resurgence in the album's popularity and sales. Salute to Def Jam's Def Jam, Russell Simmons, Ad Rock, Mike D, and the continued legacy of MCA for creating such a timeless hip hop classic. Wow. Wow. Okay. Um, let me see if there's another thing that we could discuss in today's hip hop history month. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute here. Wait a minute here. Let's get into another hip hop history for a sec here. Moises B-Boy Moy Rivera's is a legend in the world of breakdancing. He most recently helped to bring breakdancing to the 2024 Olympics as a competing sport. Um, before breakdancing hits the world stage, B-Boy Moy has partnered with Monster Energy on the Dream Circle series to bring awareness to the art form. Monster Energy's Dream Circle's 4-part series premiered on October 26th. Their third episode is set to release tomorrow, November 23rd, where we meet fellow Monster sponsored athlete and breaker extraordinaire Miguel Gravity. 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 Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh man. Yeah, Miguel Gravity Rosario. Oh man. Rosario respectively known as Gravity in the breakdancing world, started as an all-around gymnast at a young age. At 16, he had already won state championships and regional championships and taken home over 12 first place medals. The Long Island City native admits that he started to get bored with winning and being inspired by the 2004 dance film You Got Served. He began to explore the world of breaking. A complete full circle moment. Gravity is now making his way to the 2024 Olympics as one of the most influential breakers in the world. That was the foundation to breaking because of that discipline. I was able to bring that into breaking and I elevated faster than anybody can imagine. What took people 10 years to accomplish, I was doing in 3. If it wasn't for gymnastics, I would not have been able to set the bar, says Gravity. He actually he's actually the first one I've seen do a round off back double in a battle. Dude is light on his feet and he's not afraid, exclaims breakdance legend Ken Swift. Um, Miguel is one of 12 breakers sponsored by Monster Energy. Check out his episode on November 23rd, showcasing Gravity's transition from a championship gymnast to a world renowned breaker set to take the Olympics in 2024. You can check out Dream Circles edition with breakdancing legend B-Boy Moy below. You can go to the YouTube channel of Monster Energy to check out B-Boy Moy and Dream Circles. Of course, you could share your comments, your thoughts and comments with us on social media. Um, I don't know if he has an Instagram, but I'll have to look for it towards the end of the show. But anyway, anyway, so that is basically um that's basically it for music Kool-Aid. Now we get to go to the Chillax Man Cave Popcorn Lounge as we go into some reviews of scary horror movies. So here it is right here. Um yeah. The first horror movie we're reviewing today is I Know What You Did Last Summer. I Know What You Did Last Summer is a 1997 American slasher film directed by Jim Gillespie, written by Kevin Williamson, and starring Jennifer Love Hewitt, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Ryan Phillippe, and Freddie Prinze Jr. It is loosely based on the 1973 novel of the same name by Lois Duncan, and is the first installment in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. The film centers um on 4 young friends who are stalked by a hook wielding killer 1 year after covering up a car accident in which they supposedly killed a man. Oh wow. Known as the film also draws inspiration from the urban legend known as the Hook and the 1980s slasher films Prom Night and The House of Sorority Row. Sorority Row. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So the budget was 17 million dollars. Okay, so prior to Scream, Williamson was approached to adapt Duncan's source novel by producer Eric Feig, where Williamson's screenplay for Scream contained prominent elements of satire and self referential referee referentiality referentiality. His adaptation of I Know What You Did Last Summer reworked the novel's central plot to resemble a straightforward 1980s era slasher film. After the success of Scream, the film was rushed into production. I Know What You Did Last Summer was released theatrically on October 17th, 1997. It received mixed reviews from critics, but was commercially successful, grossing $125 million worldwide on a budget of $17 million and remaining number one at the US box office for 3 consecutive weeks. Um 3 consecutive weeks. It was also nominated for and won multiple awards. Wow. 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 Um the film was followed by two sequels. Um I still know what you did last summer, and I'll always know what you did last summer, which I'll probably review that next. Um, um, I know what you did last summer has also been parodied and referenced in popular culture and credited alongside Scream with revitalizing the slasher genre in the 1990s. Oh man. Oh man. So the sound, well, let's see. Yo, oh man. All right, let's go to reception. I Know What You Did last last summer opened theatrically in North America on October 17th, 1997. The film had been made on a $17 million budget, yet already in its opening weekend, it grossed 15 $15,818,645 in 2,524 theaters in the United States and Canada. Ranking number one, it remained in the number one position for an additional 2 weekends. Wow. By the end of its theatrical run in December 1997, it had grossed 72 million $586,134 in the US and Canada and $53 million in other countries for a worldwide total of $126 million. According to data compiled by Box Office Mojo, I Know What You Did Last Summer is the seventh highest grossing slasher film as of 2021. Yeah. In retrospect, Jim Gillespie said, in quote, it was meant to be kind of a standalone revisit of those classic 80s horror films. It worked. The movie was number one 3 weeks in a row. It just clicked with the audience. The title clicked and everything. It just seemed to work. Third week was Halloween weekend, and it was number one in its third week. Couldn't believe it stuck there for 3 weeks. Wow. Critical response on the review aggregator Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 44% based on 73 reviews. With an average rating of 5.40 out of 10. The site's critics consensus reads, um, end quote, a by the numbers slasher that arrived a decade too late. The mostly tedious I Know What You Did Last Summer will likely only hook diehard fans of the genre. On Metacritic, it has a weighted average score of 52 out of 100 based on reviews from 17 critics, indicating mixed or average reviews. Audiences polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of B minus on an A plus to F scale. The film inevitably drew both positive and negative comparisons to Scream. Also written by Williamson, Mick LaSalle considered the movie inferior to its predecessor. Richard Harrington, on the other hand, cited um, I Know What You Did Last Summer as superior to Scream. He described the newer picture as a smart and sharply drawn genre film with a moral center and with a solid cast of young actors to hold it. Derek Ellie of Variety was also enthusiastic, calling the film a polished genre piece with superior fright elements that should perform at better than average theatrical levels. Roger Ebert gave the movie 1 out of 4 stars and wrote that the best shot in this film is the first one. Not a good sign. Entertainment Weekly praised Jennifer Love Hewitt's performance, noting that she knows how to scream with soul. Lawrence Van Gelder of the New York Times wrote of the picture, "This isn't real life. Grand it's the grand guigno of I Know What You Did Last Summer." Lane is claimed to succeed Scream as a high-grossing and blood-drenched date night crowd pleaser. And why shouldn't it? James Kendrick of the Q Network wrote that Williamson's characters are all generic types, but they are still believable as people and they react realistically according to the situations. Kendrick added that the film was head and shoulders above earlier dead teenager movies. TV guys Maitland McDonald awarded the film no, excuse me, the movie 2 out of 5 stars, knowing the screenwriter Kevin Williamson takes a step backward and writes the kind of movie Scream mocks. You can see him soaking up videos of Friday the 13th and Halloween, not to mention the lesser likes of He Knows You Are Alone, Terror Train, and My Bloody Valentine, and saying I can do that. And boy, does he ever. Creator James Bartonelli credited both I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream with igniting a new boom of slasher films, adding there is one minor aspect of the plot that elevates I Know What You Did Last Summer above the level of a typical 80s slasher flick. It has an interesting subtext. I'm referring to the way the lives and friendships of these 4 individuals crumble in the wake of their accident. Guilt, confusion, and doubt build in them until they can no longer stand to be with each other or look at themselves in the mirror. Sadly, this potentially fascinating element of the movie is dismissed quickly to facilitate a higher body count. And as I said before, a few extra deaths can only make a slasher movie better, right? Movie historian Leonard Moulton gave the film 2 out of a possible 4 stars. He describes it as too routine to succeed overall. Despite being based on a young adult novel, this is absolutely not for kids. Still, it's a classic compared to the sequel. Motion picture scholar Adam Rockoff notes in his book Going to Pieces, The Rise and Fall of the Slasher Film, 1978 to 1986, that at the time of its release, many critics branded I Know What You Did Last Summer as an imitation of Scream. However, he contends that it is a much different film, despite both screenplays being penned by the same writer. Um, he he states that whereas Scream relied heavily on self-conscious references in its pop culture veneer, Last Summer was a throwback to the slasher films of the early 80s, while like Scream, it employed the services of a group of young, sexy, and almost impossibly good-looking actors. Last Summer played its horror straight. Those looking for a good old-fashioned slasher film were pleasantly surprised. Lois Duncan, the author of the original novel, heavily criticized the film adaptation. She stated in a 2002 interview she was appalled that her story was turned into a slasher film. It's supposed to be a scary movie. Like, what are you talking about here? So, 1997 ASCAP Award. John Debney won the award for top box office films. I Know What You Did Last Summer got a nomination for Best Horror Film Saturn Award. And for 1988 Blockbuster Entertainment Award, Jennifer Love Hewitt um won for favorite female newcomer, favorite actress, and alongside with Sarah Michelle Gellar, favorite supporting actress horror. Um Freddie Prince Jr. favorite actor horror got a nomination alongside with Jennifer Love Hewitt um with a nomination favorite actress horror. And of course, Ryan Phillippe got a nomination for favorite supporting actor. And of course, I Know What You Did Last Summer was nominated for best movie at the International Horror Guild Award. And Sarah Michelle Gellar got a nomination for best breakthrough performance MTV Movie Awards. And for the Young Artist Award, Jennifer Love Hewitt the got a nomination for best performance in a feature film leading young actress. And of course, yeah, I forgot. I didn't know they had another one. I'm gonna actually do that one next. Um, yes. So the next horror movie, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, is a 1998 slasher film directed by Danny Cannon. No relations to Nick Cannon, folks. And written by Trey Calloway. Jennifer Love Hewitt, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Muse Watson reprised their roles, with Brandy Mackay Pfeiffer and Matthew Saddle joining the cast. It is the second installment in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise. The film takes place 1 year after the events of its predecessor and was shot in Mexico and California. Damn. And of course, it received negative reviews and grossed $40 million on a budget of $24 million. A direct to video sequel, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer, was released in 2006. Okay, let's get into the reception. So the film made $16.5 million from 2,443 theaters during its opening weekend, finishing second behind Holdover the Water Boy. At the end of its 15-week run, the film grossed $40,020,622 in the United States and $40 million in other areas. Critical response. On the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 7% based on 57 reviews, with an average rating of 3.4 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads boring, predictable, and bereft of thrills or chills. I Still Know What You Did Last Summer is exactly the kind of rehash that gives horror sequels a bad name. On Metacritic, the film has a weighted average score of 21 out of 100 based on 19 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. Audiences polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of B on an A plus to F scale. Leonard Claddy of Variety said, in quote, "Peers will find the pic's obviousness disappointing, but there's no question that the film delivers a sufficient shock quotient to satisfy its youthful target audience." It also won the award for worst sequel at the 1998 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards. Damn, man. Later, I know what you did last summer's director Jim Gillespie said, "I thought it wasn't the right story. I didn't like the premise. It kind of killed the franchise a little bit. They had a chance to do something a little bit different, and for me, it didn't work." Oh boy. So damn, man. So on the 15th of August 2006, a straight to DVD film titled I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer was released. The film is unrelated to the previous films and features no returning cast members. It was originally proposed to continue where I Still Know What You Did Last Summer left off. Instead, the film features unrelated plot with a brief mention of the two films. Oh Lord. Wow. Um okay. I don't know why, but let's get into the other one. Man, I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer is a 2006 direct to video slasher film. The film is the third installment of I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, but does not have any of the cast returning from the first two installments, thus making it a standalone sequel to I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. The film instead takes the basic myth of the series with a new set of characters. I'll always I'll Always Know What You Did Last Summer was released on DVD on August 15th, 2006. And not sure what the budget for this one is, but so the film received highly negative reviews from critics criticizing the plot, acting, editing, and lack of originality. Scott Weinberg of DVD Talk called it a 12th generation knockoff that leeches off a flaccid little concept that was already withered and whiskered the first and second time around. He described the directing, editing, script, and acting all as predictable and uninteresting, ultimately summarizing the film as not so much outrageously awful as it is deadly dry and dishwater dull. Damn. Damn, that's gotta suck. That sucks. Yeah. Um. All right. So, let's get into some Jeeper Creepers. So, Jeepers Creepers. Um, the Jeepers Creepers film series consists of four American horror movies. Of course, the first three movies were written and directed by Victor Salva, and the fourth was directed by Timo um Vu Vuo Rensola. The antagonist in each of the films is the Creeper, a demonic serial killer, played by Jonathan Breck in the first three entries and Jerome Benjamin in the fourth. The film, the first film starring Gina Phillips and Justin Long was a commercial success at the box office in 2001 and received somewhat positive reviews from critics and a nomination for the Saturn Award for Best Horror Film. The succeeding entries in the series, consisting of a sequel, inter quote and reboot, were not well received. Sheesh. Okay. Um. Okay. So let's get the budget for this film is $33.2 million. So let's get into the reception. So yeah. Hold on a minute here. Wait, who is the cast members? So damn. Yes, so the cast in Jeepers Creepers is Justin Long, Gina Phillips, Brandon Smith, um who else? Tom Tarantini, Patricia Belcher, Eileen Brannon, John Bashara, Avis Marie Barnes. And I think that's about it for the cast and crew. And of course, yeah. Um so the reception. Okay, so the film basically made $10 million. The film made $10 million actually. Oh boy. $10 million actually, and the budget, like I said, the budget was like $33.2 million. Oh, okay. So we'll break down the others next. So, all right. So, all right. Um, damn man, I didn't even know there was a Jeepers Creepers 3. So, let's get to the accolades. Jeepers Creepers won for best wide release film for um for the Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, July 2002. Jonathan Breck won for best supporting actor. Brian Panikas got a nomination for best makeup and creature effects. International Horror Guild Awards. Jeepers Creepers got a nomination for Best Movie. And the Saturn Awards, Jeepers Creepers got a nomination for Best Horror Film. Justin Long got a nomination for Best Performance by a Younger Actor. And Sitges Film Festival Award. Jeepers Creepers got a nomination for Best Film. David um Bondelvich, David Bondovich got a and Victor Salva got a nomination for Best Sound Editing in a Feature Music Feature Film for Golden Reels Awards. Um and Yeah, let's get into Jeepers Creepers 2. Before I get into the award accolations for that. Hold on. All right. Jeepers Creepers 2 is a 2003 American horror film, written and directed by Victor Salva. A sequel to the 2001 Jeepers Creepers, the film finds a demonic creature and mysterious serial killer who pursues a high, no, it's not a high school bus, but a school bus filled with high school students. Ray Wise also appears as Jack Taggart, a farmer who seeks to hunt down and kill the creeper as revenge for his younger son, who the creeper had murdered that same week. Additionally, Francis Ford Coppola returned to the franchise as an executive producer. Oh boy. Yes, so the cast is Ray Wise, Eric Nenninger, Nikki A. Cox, Billy Aaron Brown, and Jonathan Breek. Um, and the budget was $17 million, I believe. Yes, yes. So produced by Marriott Pictures and American Zoe Trope. Filming for Jeepers Creepers 2 took place in Tejon Ranch in Long Beach, California in 2002. The film was theatrically released by United Artists and in the United States on August 29, 2003, where it was met with mostly negative reviews from critics. With a $17 million budget, the film grossed between 63.1 and $120 million worldwide. Sources defer the spawned a prequel as released as Jeepers Creepers 3 in 2017. All right, so Rotten Tomatoes, a review aggregator, reports that 24% of 127 surveyed critics gave the film a positive review. The average rating is 4.2 out of 10. The site's critical consensus reads Jeepers Creepers 2 is completely made, but it doesn't have the scares of the original. Metacritic rated it 36 out of 100 based on 29 reviews. Andy Klein of Variety wrote, Few things are scarier than a sequel to a bad movie, but in fact, Jeepers Creepers 2 is substantially better than its predecessor, even while staying strictly within the genre's well-defined boundaries. Michael Rechtshafen of the Hollywood Reporter. Um, yeah, the Hollywood Reporter wrote, in quote, the sequel has got the creepy bits down cold, but lacks a fair share of scares. Roger Ebert, writing for the Chicago Sun-Times, rated the film 1 out of 4 stars and said Victor um, Salva's Jeepers Creepers 2 supplies us with a a first-class creature, a fourth-rate story and dialogue, possibly created by feeding the screenplay into a pasta maker. In the New York Times, Dave Kerr wrote that creature lacks personality when the concept is retooled into a film series. Gene Seymour of the Los Angeles Times wrote that the sequel lacks the mood of the first film, and the teen protagonists are too annoying to draw up much of the audience sympathy. However, Seymour praised Wise's performance. In a positive review, Nathan Rabin of the AV Club called it the rare sequel that's not only bigger than its predecessor, but also better. And audiences polled by Cinema Score gave the film an average grade of C plus on an A plus to A scale. And the awards, of course, includes the nominations of the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, nomination for Saturn Award Best Horror Film, nomination for Motion Picture Sound Editors Golden Reel Award Best Sound Editing in a Feature Film. All right, so I did not know there was a Jeepers Creepers 3. So we're gonna get into this right here, man. This is this is kind of crazy, but anyway, Jeepers Creepers 3 is a 2017 American horror film written and directed by Victor Salva, and the third film in the Jeepers Creepers film series, taking place in between Jeepers Creepers and Jeepers Creepers 2. Jonathan Breck reprises his role as the Creeper. Phillips returns in a cameo as Trish Jenner, her first return to the series since the original film. The film was shown in theaters on September 26, 2017, in what was originally announced as a one night only showing and was then shown again on October 4th. Yes, so it includes Stan Shaw, Meg Foster, Gabrielle Hull, Jonathan Breck, and Gina Phillips. And of course, the budget was $6.2 million. Wow, interesting. All right, so the box office. During its limited 2-day run, Jeepers Creepers 3 grossed $2.3 million in the United States and $1.7 million in other territories for a worldwide total of $4 million. Wow. The film played in 635 theaters on Tuesday, September 26th, and was listed at number 3 on the day's box office rankings behind Kingsman, The Golden Circle, and It. Critical response on Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds an approval rating of 17% based on 6 reviews and a weighted average rating of 3.8 out of 10. Steve Barton, writing for Dread Central, gave the film 3.5 out of 5 stars and said, at the end of the day, if you are a fan of the franchise, you'll be happy with this latest entry, which for my taste is better than the second, but just falls short of the goodness and quality of the original experience. The door has been left open for Jeepers Creepers 4, and whether or not that will happen remains to be seen. Adam DeLeo from IGN wrote an unremarkable entry in a cult favorite franchise. Jeepers Creepers 3 offers fans too little to get excited about. While the monster still rules its slice of country highway and the skies above it, the rest of the film crashes in the cornfields. While Ernie Trinidad and gave the film 2 out of 5 stars, stating that it didn't deliver the story fans were anticipating, nor provide enough incentive to want to return for the inevitable sequel. Trinidad also felt that the film's daytime setting drew attention to its low quality CGI and makeup effects. Well, huh. Um okay, we got another film that we need to actually review. Um and I didn't even know about this until Jeepers Creepers Reborn. So Jeepers Creepers Reborn is a 2022 American supernatural horror film directed by Timo Vio Rensola and written by Jake Seal and Sean Michael Argo. The film is intended to serve as a reboot to Victor Salva's Jeepers Creepers trilogy, while setting up a new trilogy starring Sidney Craven and um, Imran Adams, with special appearances from Dee Wallace and Gary Graham. It was released on September 19, 2022 by Screen Media Films. I didn't even know about this and was panned by critics. The film was the subject of a lawsuit by Marriott Pictures, who claimed to having still owned the rights after producing the previous 2 films and were not notified of the film's production. Um, yes, so basically, okay, so this is starring Sidney Craven, Imran, Imran Adams, D. Wallace, Gary Graham. Wow. And and I'm not sure what the box office budget is. I'm not sure what the budget is. So let's go to the reception here. This is crazy, man. Um let's go to yeah, that right there is crazy. That's crazy though. So actually here's the full cast actually. So Sidney Craven as Lane, Imran Adams as Chase, Pete Brook as Stu, Ocean Navarro as Carrie, Matt Barkley as Jamie, Alexander Hal Sal as Michael. You have Jody McMullen as Madam Carnage, Jeru Benjamin as the Creeper, Georgia Goodman as Lady Manila, Gabriel Frillich as Sam, D. Wallace as Marie, Gary Graham as Ronald, and Roman Farr as DJ Python. Oh wow. I guess the horror festival is being held for the first time in Louisiana. Along among the attendees are Chase and his girlfriend Lane, who begins to experience unexplained premonitions and disturbing visions associated with the town's past and the creeper. Oh boy. Oh my gosh. Um damn. All right. So the principal photography commenced for 3 days in Jackson, Louisiana, on location and at Orwell Studios. Soon after, the production was moved to the United Kingdom. Due to the COVID-19 slamdemic, filming in the UK was split into 2 parts. The first began on November 23rd, 2020, at Black Hangar Studios and finished on December 19th. The second took place for 8 days between January and February 2021. And when Screen Media Films acquired worldwide distribution rights after previously releasing Jeepers Creepers 3 in 2017. At the 2021 European film market, Foresight Unlimited showed a promotional reel of footage for international sales. Um, and Jeepers Creepers Reborn was released in select theaters in the United States from September 19th to September 21st, 2022 by Screen Media Films in partnership with Fathom Events. So the issue is in March 16th, 2021, Marriott Pictures, the production company behind Jeepers Creepers 2 and Jeepers Creepers 3, filed a property fraud lawsuit against Infinity Films Holdings, one of the film's production companies, for producing the film without Marriott's knowledge or involvement and selling the distribution rights to Screen Media Films. In reception on the review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, 0% of 15 critics reviews are positive with an average rating of 2.6 out of 10. Wow. 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 damn. That right there is something else here. Oh yeah. Friday the 13th. Let's get into that right here too. Let's get into Friday the 13th. Um Friday Friday the 13th. What is it, film series? What is this? Okay. Oh man. Oh shit. Um, let's see. Um, hold on. What the hell did I do? Oh, okay. All right, here it is. So we're gonna get into the Friday the 13th film series. Film. Let's see what else. Um. All right, we're gonna actually get into. Let me see. Let's see. So, not sure if I'm gonna review. Okay, so Friday the 13th is an American horror franchise that comprises 12 slasher films, a television series, novels, comic books, video games, and tie-in merchandise. The film mainly focuses on the fictional character Jason Voorhees, who was thought to have drowned as a boy at Camp Crystal Lake due to the negligence of the camp staff. Decades later, the lake is rumored to be cursed and is the setting for a series of mass murders. Jason is featured in all of the films as either the killer or the motivation for the killings. The original film, created to cash in on the success of Halloween 1978, was written by Victor Miller and was produced and directed by Sean S. Cunningham. The film has grossed over $468 million at the box office worldwide. It was the highest grossing horror franchise in the world until Halloween 2018 was released, putting the Halloween franchise in the top spot. Wow. All right, so this is crazy. All right, so Frank Koso Jr., a producer of the films, also developed the television show Friday the 13th, the series. After Paramount released Jason Lives, the television series was not connected to the franchise by any character or setting, but was created based on the idea of bad luck and curses, which the film series symbolized. While the franchise was owned by Paramount, four films were adapted into novels, with Friday the 13th Part 3 adapted by two separate authors. When the franchise was sold to New Line Cinema, Cunningham returned as a producer to oversee two additional films, in addition to a crossover film with the character Freddy Krueger from A Nightmare on Elm Street series. Under New Line Cinema, 13 novellas and various comic book series featuring Jason were published. Although the films were not popular with critics, Friday the 13th is considered one of the most successful media franchises in America, not only for the success of the films, but also because of the extensive merchandising and repeated references to the series and popular culture. The franchise's popularity has generated a fan base who have created their own Friday the 13th films, fashion replica Jason Voorhees costume, and tattooed their bodies with Friday the 13th artwork. Jason's hockey mask has become one of the most recognizable images in horror and popular culture. Okay. Man. So that's crazy, man. I'm not gonna go through all the franchises though, but I'm not gonna go through all the franchises though. So let's get to we're gonna get into the original and um, so all right, so Friday the 13th films generally receive negative reception from professional critics. In contrast to other slashers like Halloween, critics disliked how the series favored high body counts over plot and character development, and how each film was almost indistinguishable from the last. Nevertheless, the films were a financial success, prompting Paramount to release more sequels contingent on the box office appeal. When comparing Friday the 13th to the other, other top grossing American slasher franchises, Nightmare on Elm Street, Child's Play, Halloween, and Hannibal Lecter series, Psycho, Saw, Scream, and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and adjusting for the 2018 inflation, Friday the 13th is the second highest grossing slasher franchise in the United States with approximately $755.6 million, behind Halloween in first place with $813 million. In third place, A Nightmare on Elm Street with $592.8 million. Then comes with Saw with $457.4 million. Scream with $442.9 million. Psycho with $376.3 million. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre with $304.6 million. And rounding out the list of Child's Play with approximately $203 million. The financial success has extended to home release, with more than 5 million DVDs sold by 2005. Yeah. Okay, the original. I'm not gonna really. Okay, so the original, right? Um, yeah, we just reviewed the original. Now we're gonna review the no, yeah, we're gonna review the now this is the 1980 version. The franchise overall already did um already did well. So um now we're gonna review the 2009 version of Friday the 13th. Friday the 13th is a 2009 slasher film directed by Marcus Nispel, written by Damian Shannon and Mark Swift from a screen story by Shannon Swift and Mark Wheaton. It is a reboot of the Friday the 13th franchise, which began in 1980, and it's the 12th installment. Nispel also directed the 2003 remake of Toby Hooper's The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 1974, while Shannon and Swift wrote the screenplay for the 2003 crossover Freddy vs. Jason. The film was produced by Platinum Dunes and Crystal Lake Entertainment and distributed by New Line Cinema and Paramount Pictures. It stars Jared Padalecki, who is playing Walker, Daniel Panabaker from The Flash, Aaron Yu, Amanda Rigetti, Travis Van Winkle, and Derek Mears and follows Clay Miller as he searches for his missing sister Whitney, who is captured by Jason Voorhees while camping in woodland at Crystal Lake. Hmm. Yes. Um. So it was the budget for the reboot movie is $19 million. The film was originally conceived as as an origin story, but the project evolved into a reimagining of the first four Friday the 13th films. The character Jason Voorhees was redesigned, as a lean, quick killer with a backstory that allows the viewer to feel sympathy for him, but not enough that he would lose his menace. In keeping with the tone of the film, Jason's mask was recreated from a mold of the original mask used for part 3, though there were subtle changes. Friday the 13th includes some of the Harry Manfredini's musical score from the previous Friday the 13th films because the producers recognized its iconic status. Friday the 13th was theatrically released in the United States on February 13th, 2009 by New Line Cinema in North American territories and by Paramount Pictures internationally. The film received generally negative reviews from critics who felt that it did not add anything new to the franchise. The film would go on to gross $92.7 million at the box office on a budget of $19 million, becoming the second highest grossing film in the franchise after Freddy versus Jason. All right, reception. Um, on its opening day, Friday the 13th grossed $19,293,446 and immediately exceeded the individual box office grosses The New Blood 1988, Jason Takes Manhattan 1989, Jason Goes to Hell, and Jason X, which earned 19,170 and $1, $14 million, 343,976, $13 million, $935,068, and 13,121,555 respectively. From February 14th to the 16th, Friday the 13th earned an additional 24,292 292 thousand and three, making its 4-day President's Day weekend total of $43,000,000, 585,449 dollars. Um by the end of its 3-day opening weekend, it was already the second highest grossing film in the franchise, earning um having earned $40,000,000, 570,365, slightly exceeding The Grudge 2004 for the best 3-day weekend opening of any horror film. When comparing the 2009 film opening weekend to that of its 1980 counterpart in adjusted 2009 US dollars, the original Friday the 13th film earned 17,251,975. Although the 2009 film made more money when factoring in the number of theaters each film was released in, the 1980 film earned an average of 15,683 per theater, compared to the 2009 film's average of 13,066. Friday the 13th saw a significant drop in attendance in its second weekend at the box office. On its second Friday, the film earned million, $2,802,977, a decrease of 85.5% from its opening Friday. By the end of its second week, the film had earned $7,942,472, a decrease of 80.4% from the previous weekend. As a result, the film went from first place to sixth in the weekend box office chart. By its third weekend, Friday the 13th had left the top 10, earning $3,689,156, a 53.6 decrease from its second weekend. By the end of its box office run, Friday the 13th earned an estimated $65 million at the United States box office, but failed to regain a top 10 spot after its third weekend. As of July 2014, the 2009 film is the fifth largest earning President's Day weekend with $45,033,454. It is the eighth highest grossing weekend in the month of February and the eighth highest grossing weekend for the winter season, the period from the first day after the New Year weekend until the first Thursday of March. Friday the 13th finished as the fourth highest grossing film of any February with $59.8 million, just behind Taken with $84.3 million. He's just not that into you with $77.2 million, and Medea Goes to Jail with $60.9 million. Friday the 13th was the 15th highest grossing R-rated film of 2009. Because of the significant decrease in the box office revenues in its second weekend, the film had the sixth largest second weekend drop. It is the seventh largest drop for a film that opened as the top earning film in the United States. With its $65 million revenue at the North American box office, Friday the 13th is the highest grossing film among slasher film remakes from the 2000s, which comprised When a Stranger Calls, 2006, Black Christmas, 2006, Halloween, 2007, Prom Night, 2008, and My Bloody Valentine, 2009. The film is ranked seventh highest earning of all horror remakes and is the seventh highest earning slasher film in unadjusted dollars. In addition to its North American box office gross, Friday the 13th earned over $9.5 million in foreign markets on its opening weekend. The film's biggest markets were the United Kingdom, Russia, Italy, Spain, and Germany. Friday the 13th took in approximately $1.7 million in both the United Kingdom and Russia, as an estimated $1.1 million. $1.1 million in Spain and $1 million in both Italy and Germany. According to Paramount, this was the largest opening outside North America of any of the Friday the 13th films. The film finished its North American box office run with $65,002,019, coupled with its earnings of $27,688,218. Outside North America, the film has accumulated $92,670,237 worldwide. The film earned $10,344,904 in domestic video sales. Critical response. Based on 175 reviews collected by review aggregator website Rotten Tomatoes, Friday the 13th has a 26% approval rating from critics with an average score of 4.30 out of 10. The consensus reads, though technically well constructed, Friday the 13th is a series rehash that features little to distinguish it from its predecessors. All right, before I continue this, let me give a quick reminder that you can make a charitable donation to support this show right here, which is my cash app, which is $ G Money Stacks 555. That's capital G lowercase MONEY capital S lowercase TACKZ 555. Once again, it's not about breaking the bank. It's all about doing the best you can on whatever amount of money you desire and are comfortable with will be appreciated. And by the way, you can give a 5-star rating on Podchaser, um Podfriend. There's Apple Podcasts. There's also Spotify as well. These are 4 places where you could give a 5-star rating. That would be appreciated. All right, so Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream critics, calculated an average score of 34 based on 29 reviews. Cinema Score polls reported that average grade cinema goers um, gave the film a B minus on a scale of A plus to F. Exit polls showed that 51% of the audience was male and 59% were at least 25 years old. Um, Alonzo Duraldi wrote that the film should please slasher fans, but that it added nothing new to the genre or the franchise and would not appeal to people who did not like slasher films. He also said the prospect of another Friday the 13th crafted by the film's sequel friendly ending did not leave him with a feeling of dread. Bill Goody Kuntz of the Arizona Republic said that the film accepts the ridiculousness of what it is trying to accomplish, mainly the death and dismemberment of party-hungry kids, and that audiences would enjoy it if they also recognize that. Although Goody Kuntz acknowledges the unique touches the film brings to certain characters' deaths, he was unimpressed with the acting and said um, Padalecki's presence gave the film a less good episode of supernatural vibe. The Washington Post, Dan Zach wrote that the film fails to provide live scares, suspense, or gore. Zach also said it fails to provide the exhibition of nudity expected of horror films that cannot deliver on the previously listed criteria. Mark Olson of the Los Angeles Times said, "This pal captured the despair he created with his Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake." Olsen also said the film failed to provide the giddiness, teenage lust, and rambunctiousness that made the previous Friday the 13th films work. Wesley Morris said Friday the 13th did have humor. He said the characters continually act the cliched role of would-be victim, making it hard to fear for their safety. In his opinion, the 2009 film lacked the psychosocial aspect, a mother killing out of revenge for her son's death crafted by its 1980 predecessor, and ultimately the film is more hilarious than terrifying. Um, the New York Post, Kyle Smith said Nispel um, made no attempt to create a movie beyond blood and guts. And even those attempts were forgettable. Smith said that apart from Clay and Trent, the rest of the cast were merely faces in the crowd with no attempt to give them any sort of backstory. USA Today's Claudia Puig said that the film keeps to the same formula as its predecessors with a story that adds a little to nothing to the franchise. She also said Padalecki, and Panabaker filled their lead roles well, and and that Aaron Yu's comic relief made him one of the most likable characters on screen. Rob Nelson of Variety also praised Panabaker and Yu's performances. In contrast to the film's detractors, the New York Times Nathan Lee said Friday the 13th managed to reboot the concept of the original film with style. Lee said the film takes pleasure in killing off each of its characters, that there is a desire among cinema goers for this type of material, and that Friday the 13th satisfies that desire. Adam Graham from the Detroit News said that it is the most effective and scary film in the Friday the 13th franchise. He praised its choice of allowing Jason to run after his victims, as opposed to slowly walking behind them, as became prominent in later sequels because it made him more menacing. Graham also said the film does not soften Jason's scariness by providing a sympathetic backstory. Roger Ebert of the Chicago Sun-Times explained his review of the film. He stated it will come as little surprise that Jason still lives in the woods around Crystal Lake and is still sore about the death of his mom. Jason must be sore in general. Entertainment Weekly's Clark Collis said director Nispel made a competent film that performs better as a whole than the previous release remakes Prom Night and My Bloody Valentine 2009, although it does provide a few too many unbelievable character moments. Jason Anderson of the Toronto Star said the film added freshness to the standard formula of the previous films by focusing on the chasing and killing aspects instead of lingering on the prolonged suffering of victims like the Saw films. IGN's Chris Carl said Aaron Yoon stole the film with his comic timing and with his memorable death. Carl said Derek Mears' portrayal of Jason adds more to the character than being simply a stuntman. Mears' subtle movements, athleticism, and physicality created an imposing image of Jason. And damn, that's crazy. Um, yeah, so there's a so this is gonna be a cancer sequel, so let's get into that one right here. In October 2009, Warner Brothers Pictures set a release date for a sequel to Friday the 13th as of August 13th, 2010. On December 10th, however, the sequel was pulled from its release date and was delayed indefinitely. In April 2010, producer Brad Fuller announced that a sequel to the film was not happening. In February 2011, Fuller announced that Damian Shannon and Mark Swift had finished a script for the sequel. In June 2013, Warner Bros. Relinquished their film rights to the Friday the 13th franchise to Paramount Pictures. During the same month, however, Derek Mears revealed that Paramount was working with Platinum Dunes to produce a sequel to the remake. However, the sequel was later developed into a separate installment of the franchise. Wow. Wow, that's gotta suck right here, man. That really has to suck right here. Wow. Anyway, let's get into the other the other the other segment right here, which is for all the gamers out there, man. You are looking forward to new games that's coming out either this month or next month and the following months. Um, yeah, you're gonna like this genre, this segment right here. The video game chamber is where I review some games that's coming out, the gameplay, the graphics, um, the storyline, all that great stuff right here. So let's get into it right here. the video game chamber. All right, here we go. Right here. Yeah, we got some games that's coming out at the end of the month. I know I said I was going to actually review. What is it? I was going to review. What is it? Resident Evil 3. I believe that's Resident Evil 3 and Sable. Yeah, let's get into Resident Evil 3 real quick, which already came out already. No, hold on. As a matter of fact, no, hold on a second here. No, hold on. There's actually I didn't even see this actually. I'm sorry. Um I didn't even see this shit though. Okay. All right. Obviously Wreckfest came out last week. I did not get a chance to look at that one. And all right, we're gonna go over Wreckfest, Norco, and I already reviewed Miles Morales already. Um I already reviewed that already. Let's see. All right, let's review Resident Evil 3. Yeah, hold on. Shit. Shit. Anyway, Wreckfest first. All right. So most of the cars in Wreckfest look like they were hauled out of a junkyard and spray painted to hide the rust. The detailing isn't important here. All that really matters is that the car drives fast and can take a beating. Driving aggressively is what Wreckfest is all about. Joyfully turning most races into excuse me. Um Turning most races into highlight reels filled with flipping cars, pile-ups, and debris littering the track. Developer Bugbear, Bugbear Entertainment. Oh shit! Turns chaos into thrilling gameplay that makes almost every event in Wreckfest a heart-pounding delight to play. Rather than making clean turns, some of your strategy involves deciding how much you need your front bumper, as a good hard hit against your rivals can send them into the ditch, or better yet, flip them upside down. Wreckfest lives up to its name. In the most of its racing events, and the computer controlled opponents are thinking just as devilishly as you are. They try to spin you out, and if they happen to hit you hard enough, they become an official rival for the remainder of the race. Most of Wreckfest's tracks appear to be designed with catastrophic outcomes in mind. Straightaways are narrow, mean cars are exchanged paint just out of a necessity as they navigate these spaces, and the turns are often tight or filled with tire stacks cars can ram into. Even the side banks end up doubling as dirt jumps that send your car sailing or spinning uncontrollably. These are the tame courses. Others are more obvious in their intent to destroy you. These tracks may feature figure eight loop de loops, and a lack of safety walls on oncoming traffic. Bugbear wants you to wreck, and the excellent tracks designs and aggressive AI make this happen, even if you are racing your heart out of first place. As a spiritual success to Bugbear's famed flat out series, Wreckfest also includes full on demolition derbies that pit you against 15 other vehicles. Much like Fortnite's Battle Royale mode, the goal of these challenges is to be the last car running. As amusing as it is to see 16 cars smash into each other to start an event, the demolition derbies push you to drive in different ways, especially backwards to protect your engine. These challenges hit at the right time to shake up the flow of play. Hmm. Well, damage in all events is persistent, and handy meter on screen shows you exactly what shape your car is in, meaning you have to adapt a protective stance just to finish a race. Again, you end up playing this game in a different way than other races, yet the goal remains the same: finish in first. The driving mechanics are excellently implemented for the cars, and the upgrades you can give them can be felt the next time you take the track. The same cannot be said for the gimmick vehicles like lawnmowers, harvesters, and RVs. Oh shit. Given their reduced speed, awkward handling, or ear-piercing engine sounds, I just didn't get into them. These vehicles are fun in concept and add a nice diversion for one challenge here or there. But the true stars of the game are the muscle cars which you spend the most time in and can give different paint colors and liveries too. Wreckfest is an old school racer at heart. You won't see a guide path on the road to follow or rewind function. I love that game. I love that the game doesn't give you any assistance and instead pushes you to create your own opportunities, like smashing into cars to navigate turns or sacrifice a little speed to spin rival out. Um, on the flip side of being old school in design, Wreckfest doesn't have much a career structure. To unlock new challenges, you simply need to play what is available and score well enough to earn points needed to unlock the next challenge or event tier. Money earned along the way can be used to purchase new rides, which there are some fun and powerful beasts to sick against the competition. I didn't dive into the marketplace often, however, as the event structure constantly shakes things up and often makes you drive in different vehicles. The career may not have depth, but it works well in terms of showing the player everything this game has to offer. Online play delivers almost every race or event you'll find in the campaign, but again, doesn't offer much outside of this. The video game market is filled with racing simulations, and it's nice to see oddities like Wreckfest that delivered the exact opposite. Why race a clean path when you can race dirty? If that proposition sounds fun to you, you can't go wrong with this aggressive racing experience. And of course, it's 8.5. The concept there can't be a photo finish if your rival is in the ditch. Wreckfest is all about aggressive driving and smashing cars to bits. The graphics in the races on final lap, most tracks are filled with vehicle debris and stalled cars. The damaged models look good, distracting you from the fairly pedestrian tracks. The sound, the roaring engines and sounds of vehicles colliding are excellent. The licensed heavy metal soundtrack is a bit much. but it can be turned off while racing. Playability: the vehicles control well and deliver the proper feel and physics to initiate takedowns and spinouts. Sustained vehicle damage can be felt over the course of a race. In entertainment, smashing up cars is fun, and Wreckfest is an old school racer that delivers on that thrill. Um, and the replay is moderate. Okay, let me see how much time we got here. All right, let's see. Okay. Now, let's see. All right, I'm gonna go to yeah, I'm gonna go to what is it? Yeah, let's go to before I go to Resident Evil 3, let's go to PID. Let's go to PID because I already did PID already. I did PID already. I did PID already. I remember that. Um and all right. Pokemon Scarlet. Hold on a second. Each new generation of Pokemon promises changes and iterations to the long-standing franchise formula. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet kick off the ninth generation of Pokemon games, offering some of the biggest changes to date. An open world, four-player um, co-op, and other additions effectively push the series forward in meaningful ways, but the technical shortcomings often break immersion and tamper an otherwise strong Pokemon game. The Pokemon formula remains mostly intact through Scarlet and Violet. Your main goals still involve catching, training, and battling the Pokemon that inhabit the world. But this time, you do so in the series' first true open world, expanding the formula in unprecedented ways. The Paldea region is ripe for exploration, um, with diverse biomes and various nukes and crannies in which to hunt. Thanks to a wide swath of Pokemon, new and old species alike, I always felt rewarded for journaling off the beaten path. When I did discover an all new monster, I often appreciated the design, making this batch one of my favorite new generations in a long time. Thanks to this open world approach, the most battles are now optional. Trainers occupy the world, but you must initiate the battle with them to start. I like this approach as it let me skip fights I wouldn't otherwise want to be in. Though the money, um, experience, and rewards often make them worthwhile. The same could be said with wild Pokemon encounters, which only happen if you run into them. Random encounters are completely gone this time around. You can also use the new Let's Go mechanic, where you send your league Pokemon out to auto battle if you are just looking for a quick experience in crafting materials. Unfortunately, the larger world comes at a cost. As Pokemon Scarlet and Violet suffer from poor performance across the board, characters pop in and out of existence before your eyes. Textures appear in extremely low resolution, and the frame rate stutters around every turn. Game Freak shot for the stars with its first open world, but it's clear it still has a ways to go when it comes to making it work on Switch. Once you are in battle, longtime Pokemon players will feel right at home as it reverts to the traditional turn-based format where type strengths and weaknesses, create compelling rock, paper, scissors style matchups. The new terrestrialization mechanic, where an in battle Pokemon takes on a gem like appearance and boosts moves of its specific Terra type, accentuates the type matchup system. Some Pokemon even change type when they are terrestrialized. While the moves of the Pokemon's Terra type are boosted, they are hardly overpowered, and since terrestrializing is limited to once per Pokemon Center visit, it adds an extra layer of strategy. The terrestrialized forms look uniformly goofy, but terri- terrestrialization is my favorite generational battle gimmick in the series history. Players can explore this new open Paldea region together thanks to four players player cooperative play. Once players join the host's instance, they can freely explore, catch new Pokemon, battle in terra raids, and trade with each other. I'm sad there aren't more interactions between players in these sessions, but the freedom offered by co-op outweighs the shortcomings. The open world design also enables you to choose the order in which you approach the three main quest lines. Victory Road offers the series' traditional eight gym conquest with the goal of taking down the Elite Four, um, while Starfall Streets lets you attack bases held by Team Star. The rival group of this entry gym challenges preceding each leader battle diversify the lead up, but they are either mundane or revert to the traditional trainer gauntlet style. Team Star based assaults are easy affairs where you need to use the let's go mechanic to defeat 30 Pokemon in 10 minutes before an often challenging boss battle. Path of Legends, a third quest line, grants engaging battles against huge Titan Pokemon, provides the best rewards, and serves up a touching story. I enjoyed each individual quest line, and while they are des- desperate in nature, they converge in the meaningful and post game content. Of course, the persistent mission of filling out your Pokedex exists alongside those three story quests. This mission becomes more satisfying than ever thanks to a terrific redesign that depicts your Pokédex as a shelf of encyclopedias. I love watching the shelf fill with each new encounter, but I'm disappointed Pokemon Legends Arceus goals, which required you to study Pokemon before their entry was complete, have vanished. Despite technical shortcomings and some filler content, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are chock full of meaningful additions to one of the gaming's most popular franchises. At worst, these games are steps towards the Pokemon games for which players have clamored, but more often they serve as effective thesis statements for where the series goes from here. Either way, I can't wait to see where Game Freak evolves the experience from this point. 8.25. All right. All right. So obviously, Pokemon Violet is already out right now too. Um Pokemon Violet is already out right now. Let's get into that. Okay, already I think I wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait, this is the same statement. Yeah, this is the same statement. Yeah. So this is the same statement. Let's get into Resident Evil 3. All right. So Resident Evil 3 is the game to review. All right. So And for those of you who may not know, this is from the website Game Informer. Um, you can check that out for all you gamers out there that's into video gaming and all the other stuff with different game systems. You can check out the games and gameplays and stuff. I'm gonna be doing the reviews and stuff, so actually it's just you know, anyway. I've always been fascinated by the concept of persistence hunting. The idea that a hunter doesn't need to run faster than its prey as long as they chase with dog determination. Oh shit. Early human hunters would often pursue their game for hours or even days until they brought down some behemoths. After an extended chase, even the healthiest creatures must collapse, beaten and exhausted from the endless pursuit. It sounds like an incredibly terrifying way to meet your end. And if you ever wanted to know how the prey feels, play Resident Evil 3. As with last year's Resident Evil 2, Capcom's newest remake is a smart update to the PlayStation Classic. Many of the elements from the 1999 release have been remixed in this retelling of Jill Valentine's escape from Raccoon City's zombie outbreak. Capcom's original release was a more action focused experience than previous entries, and this remake continues that tradition. But that isn't a bad thing since these firefights are so compelling. The action takes place from an over the shoulder third person perspective. Lining up a perfect headshot takes skills. Um, as zombies stagger forward in erratic patterns, but the gameplay feels precise and exciting. My stomach regularly lurched into my throat as even small groups of undead crawled toward me. But when my back was against the wall, watching those zombie heads pop up like melons proved especially satisfying. Between firefights, Jill scavenges for meager supplies and collects various keys that open new areas. And I love hunting down the right key or tool to unlock each new room. Excuse me. However, since Jill has less downtime between set piece moments, she has fewer puzzles to complete than Resident Evil 2 or even the original Resident Evil 3. That is disappointing mainly because the few puzzles you encounter are so well done. They offer a nice change of pace, and I liked figuring out how to reroute subway trains or calculating the correct chemical mixture to create vaccines. Resident Evil 3's pace doesn't suffer much from this renewed focus on combat, and the moment to moment action remains compelling. The biggest reason Jill rarely, has a second to catch her breath is Nemesis. This 10-foot monster was created in one of Umbrella's labs for the sole purpose of assassinating Jill. Nemesis is a grotesque figure who might send shivers down your spine with just one look, but this monster is even more imposing in motion. Unlike Resident Evil 2's Mr. X, Nemesis is nimble and fast enough to keep pace with you. He follows you around the map, can leap in front of you to block your path, and reaches out to trip you with his tendrils. Whenever Nemesis shows up, you need to either run or dig in for a resource draining battle. This makes each encounter with him as thrilling as it is terrifying. And when you do finally escape Nemesis's grasp, the sense of relief is palpable. The journey is full of relentless beatdowns, and you'd be foolish to try to take down every enemy you encounter. Jill's new dodge maneuver allows her to escape almost every conflict without a scratch. If you pull it off consistently, yeah. When you time Jill's dodge perfectly, you slow time and have the chance to squeeze off a new free headshots. Unfortunately, the timing window for this dodge feels off. Even near the end of the game, I still got hit by enemies even after I was sure I had properly dodged. That inconsistency is unfortunate because dodging is incredibly empowering when it works. Your race through Raccoon City is the main course, but the Resistance multiplayer mode is also worth a look. In this asymmet- asymmetrical four versus one mode, groups of survivors work together to kill hordes of zombies and find several keys which allow them to escape Umbrella's labs. I appreciate the variety among the survivors since some heroes excel in close quarters combat while others function as support classes. I found a good routine sitting back from the front lines, disabling traps, and helping my teammates find useful equipment. But charging into the fray is also exciting. When you get a really good team together, you feel like you can overcome even the deadliest traps. Playing as a survivor in Resistance was a fun diversion, but I got a greater thrill when I took on the mantle of a mastermind. These devious characters work from the shadows and scheme to keep the survivors in line. As a match builds, masterminds accumulate a steady stream of resources which they can spend to set up traps and unleashing hordes of undead monsters. I laughed when sickly after saving up a mountain of resources to spend in a single room that tied up my survivors for several minutes, which ultimately won me the match. Masterminds offer a more strategic level of play that I haven't seen in a Resident Evil game before, and I hope Capcom continues to iterate on these mechanics down the road. With this remake, Capcom has greatly improved one of my least loved entries in the series. Resident Evil 3's greater focus on action affords you fewer opportunities to stop and think, but Jill's adventure is an incredible thrill ride. From the first moment that Nemesis bursts through the wall and reach out with one of his tendrils, I felt my heart begin to race. I don't think it slowed down again until the credits rolled. Oh shit. So the concept, return to Raccoon City zombie outbreak in this third person shooter then reworks everything, including enemies, puzzles, and environments. The graphics, Resident Evil 3 looks clean and crisp, and the monster design are appropriately grotesque. The sound. So the soundtrack is intense, which matches the emphasis on action. Ambient effects and zombie moans set you on edge, even when the bullets aren't flying. Playability. Like the Resident Evil 2 remake, the over the shoulder gunplay feels good. Unfortunately, Jill's dodge is a bit inconsistent. Entertainment. This is another spectacular remake for the series. And Nemesis is an imposing enemy who relentlessly chases you throughout the game. And the replay is moderately high. Sheesh. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, man. Oh man. Oh man. All right, so I think that's gonna do it for this episode right here. Episode 99. Scary times. Now we're gonna get into this last very segment right here, and this is where I inform you on where you can listen to the episodes and where you can follow the show on every social media platform. Actually, yes. So here it is, stream choices on the go. And y'all folks know what to do, man. You like what you heard in today's episode or any previous episodes whatsoever, please feel free to follow Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast, the review show, and alongside with my other show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast. And Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast is on Facebook and Instagram, alongside with myself on the primary handle on the gram, your homie right here, G Money Stacks. You can find me and follow me as the host of 3 multiple podcast shows on Instagram, which is G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Turn on your notifications so you can be in the know on when each episode is going to be dropping. So the episode is going to be dropping on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. All right. Yes, so there you have it right here. And you can go to the link in bio where it says Linktree / Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast. And you're gonna see a whole list of audio streaming platforms whatsoever. The links are there. If you don't have any of these apps, don't worry, the links are there. And also you can download these apps onto your Android phones, iPhones, iPads, and Android tablets. You can even download these apps to your laptop as well. And you can also leave a voice message on anchor.fm / meticulous vibe juice pod. All right. Any questions for me? Any ideas on who I should actually review as far as like singers, rappers, and as far as movies, TV shows, games, and sometimes podcast shows as well. Now, speaking of Anchor, that's where we're going to start off right here. So listen to this. Make sure you follow and subscribe to all these stream platforms that I'm going to mention right here. So Anchor, Audible, Audacity, Amazon Music, Breaker, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Reason FM, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, and make sure you listen to Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast review show episodes on Radio Public alongside with iHeartRadio, the #1 app for music, radio, and podcasts. And you don't need a credit card or a debit card to download these apps, including iHeartRadio right here, folks. It's free. You feel what I'm saying? It's free. And you can also make sure you follow my other shows that's also on iHeartRadio as well, which is Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Podcast, the Sports Edition show, and my #1 show, which I already posted episode 207 last night, which is Off the Meat Rat Chains New York podcast as well. Make sure you listen to those episodes as well. 207, 206, 205, 204, 203, 201, 202, 201, and 200. And also make sure you rate, make sure you do your best to actually share your thoughts in the comments and stuff. And speaking of which, last but not least, make sure you grab that subscribe button for me on the Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast YouTube channel page. Click on the noti bell so you can be reminded when the show goes in the air via live stream. Leave a like and a comment along with the episodes, along with the topics that's been reviewed. and more video content, upcoming episodes, previous episodes, in case you miss any of them. Everything's all uploaded to the YouTube channel page and alongside with the streaming platforms that I just mentioned just now. And the most important thing here is for you to download these episodes. Of course, you can download your favorite episodes, of course, right here. Yes, download every favorite episode that you like, of course, and also be sure to share the episodes, share the videos, listen to stream and watch these episodes. Tell a friend to another friend. Spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And for the most part, the most important thing here is to make sure you share the podcast along with the link that says Linktree/Meticulous Vibe Juice Podcast with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, your girlfriends, your friends, the people you are cool with from work, and all that great stuff right there. So that's gonna do it for me. I'm G Money Stacks. Thank you very much for tuning in, rocking with me, hanging out with me on this episode right here. Episode 99, scary times. And remember, the grind doesn't stop. All right? The grind doesn't stop. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it. New York wasn't built in a day. And you want to find something, create something that makes you happy, and of course that clicks to you. Find that spark that gets you into your zone mentally, physically, creatively, and spiritually. All right? And alongside with finding your voice, which is important, be confident in what you do with your craft, what you're doing, as far as like, whether you are a radio personality, a podcaster, host like I'm doing here, whether you are an EMT or any other type of career field that you're trying to do, make sure you go follow your goals and dreams. Don't give up, even though sometimes it could be a little tough, whatsoever. But it's all about having the determination, the confidence, the inspiration, and motivation. That's what matters here. All right. And that's it. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all next time in the next episode. And tune in next time on episode 100 as I review Aquafina's music discography and all that other great stuff that we got covered in the new topics of episode 100. So episode 100 is coming up next time. And it's and I can't believe I just made it to episode 100 already, man. That's crazy, right? After postponing and taking a little bit of a break. It's not a long week or 2 week of a break though. But at the same time, I may take a 2 week break during Christmas and New Year's. All right. So don't worry. There's gonna be more episodes to come. So don't worry. All right. And that's it for me. I'm off this shit. Thank you very much. See y'all next time. And I hope y'all enjoy your Thanksgiving week. I hope y'all enjoy your football game on Thursday. And of course, be careful out there on Black Friday in case you're trying to shop. Hopefully, I don't know, if you're lucky, you might get a hookup. if you're lucky. So yeah. Peace and one love, and have yourselves a good night, folks, and enjoy your Thanksgiving. And happy Thanksgiving in advance, folks. All right, good night.